Hi, I'm Debbie Hartner.
I'm Elsie Johnson.
We are two sisters, Southern Cooking.
And we're back.
Hey guys, it's Debbie and Elsie. So this time I'm making my version of red velvet cinnamon rolls.
And
And
it's gonna be good.
Elsie makes an excellent recipe for cinnamon rolls. Hers uses bread flour. Mine uses all-purpose. You can use bread flour, but you do not want to use bread flour if this has already been finely milled, because it might make the actual roll too tender and it might not hold up well. So we don't want to do that.
We haven't taken a chance to try it.
Yeah.
I mean, one day I may try it just to see how the rolls turn out, but for now we'll follow the recipe as planned.
So this is red velvet cake mix, and I'm going to use 1 cup of flour, so I'm hoping that I don't overdo it. All right. Almost.
You got it?
That's on the money, dude.
The yeast.
And we'll put the yeast in, lower this down, mix this up for about 2 minutes, and then we will come back and add the water in. And at that time,
We'll change it to a dough hook.
we'll change it to the dough hook, and then we'll add in the rest of the flour. And we'll be right back, guys. Hey guys, and we're back. We're gonna go ahead and add in the water. We let it mix together, and then we're gonna add this in, and we're going to stir it for 2 minutes on a medium set.
And then you add the rest of the flour.
Then I'm gonna add the rest of the flour in. And at the time that we get ready to put it in after 2 minutes, then we're going to put the dough hook on and we'll add in the extra flour. We set it for 2 minutes, and it goes for 2 minutes. So,
Yeah, that's nice because then you don't have to set a separate timer.
and there's no guessing games about it.
I really do need to find a permanent spot that I can leave it out and be readily usable all the time, because it is a really, really nice mixer, but it's heavy.
It is.
It's like extremely heavy.
It is. It is heavy.
And you're not going to believe how much y'all paid for this. Roger found it online.
It was secondhand.
Secondhand, but I don't mind because it's in perfect condition.
Right.
I think y'all paid $70 or $80 or something?
75.
$75 for it. That thing is probably a $400 or $500 mixer. I'm not above secondhand stuff. I love finding a deal.
Yes, me too. All right, so we're going to restart this. We're going to run this for about 8 minutes until it has enough of the ball hooked together. Then we're going to put it in our proofed bowl here with
And
oil.
again, the same thing. If it's not gathering up off the bottom, we'll put some regular all-purpose flour in there to pull it up.
Like 2 tablespoons, and just to be able to like mix it together. But this here is actually not the way other cinnamon roll recipes are. So this is different, and it has something to do with the fact that it's a cake mix, because you have all of the additives that are in the cake mix already in here. So we don't add salt in, we don't add anything else that you would actually add in.
Right.
So everything is already combined into the cake mix.
That's
itself.
what makes it really nice, and it's a really cool recipe that you use the cake mix to do it. Which when you told me about it, I was like, that's weird. I never heard of anything like that, but
It's going to be beautiful.
It does make it a lot easier, I think. But I couldn't go without making my cinnamon rolls, because my cinnamon rolls are amazing, and I don't brag on myself very often, but my cinnamon rolls are amazing.
They are. They're really, really good. So we're going to let this run for 8 minutes. We'll be back when we're ready to take it out and get it ready to be proofed in our greased bowl here, and then we're going to cover it up with some plastic wrap and let it proof for about an hour, hour and a half. You can do up to 2 hours if you wish. But it's going to bake for 20 minutes when we get it all prepped and ready to go. And then, of course, we have the time to put put the cream cheese frosting on the top of it. So
And another thing on the cream cheese frosting, we're doubling our cream cheese frosting because we like a lot of icing.
right,
So for both cinnamon rolls, we're going to double the
Right.
recipe.
so it's gonna be yummy. So we'll be right back, guys. Okay, guys. So we are finishing up here, and we're gonna actually turn this off and take our dough out. We actually had to end up adding about about
3 to 4 tablespoons
to
of
4
flour.
tablespoons of flour in here, and it's still sticky. It's
Yeah,
gonna be very tacky.
I do know that weather does affect the way things are, and our humidity is extremely high here.
This is hysterical. So this here is going to it's going to be going into the bowl the best it can, because it is very, very sticky. And I'll get the rest of this out of here.
And then we will
Just put this in here, and
saran wrap on it.
then we're going to put it on top of the stove and let it proof for about an hour, hour and a half. I'm going to tend to go on the longer side because of it being as sticky as it
Yeah.
is, because it needs a little more time to dry out and to be able to proof. So,
Yeah.
and that's it, guys. We'll be right back. Hey guys, it's Debbie. So I am making the filling for my red velvet cinnamon rolls, and I'm going to go ahead and get started. I am putting in a cup of brown sugar, and I'm going to go ahead and put my melted butter in. Now normally you would just put your melted butter on top of your dough, but what I'm doing is I'm going to mix it all together because it kind of gets into the crevices really nice. And I'm just going to mix this together, make it smooth. And this is going to be yummy. This is nice and liquidy, so it'll go on very smoothly onto the dough. I can't wait to try this. This is going to be so good. And then we're going to come back in a little bit and make our cream cheese frosting to put on the top of it. Elsie has a recipe and I have a recipe also. And we will put them with their perspective cinnamon rolls. Look at that.
That looks good.
Looks good. Nice and liquidy. All right, we will see you when we come back. Okay, so we're at the second step of where our dough has risen. We've already proofed it. So I'm going to go ahead and just throw out a little bit of flour here on my surface and roll it out. Just roll it out of our bowl. Just going to put a little bit on my rolling pin. So we're going to roll it out to be in about, I think it's going to be about maybe 12 by 16. So the way we're going to do it is we're going to roll this out. Like this. So it's going to be about 1/4 of an inch when we're done with it. So it's going to be pretty flat. It's pretty pliable right now. So make sure my rolling pin doesn't get all gunked up. Get it about there. Right. It's so easy to roll out. It is tremendously easy. It's much better than regular dough. So, all right. So what I've done is I've already pre-mixed my mixture already, and I'm just going to put it here and take my offset spatula and just kind of smooth it out, and then we'll roll it up the long end, and then we'll cut it in like 1.5 inch. It has to sit for 30 more minutes to proof after it's cut, and then we'll put it in the oven. We'll bake it for like 20 minutes at 350. All right, offset spatula, and let's just bring this out and just roll this out. Yeah. Stuff is thick. Just gonna smooth it out as good as we can. This dough is so pliable too. It's very easy to roll out and to manipulate. This is going to be gorgeous because these red velvet cinnamon rolls, now when they are taken out of the mixer, when you first initially take them out, it's definitely very tacky, very sticky, and it's very common for that. So if you see that, don't be alarmed. Don't be thinking that there's something wrong with the way you did it. It doesn't rise up like the other cinnamon roll dough does. So don't be alarmed if it doesn't look like it's as big as your other one, because Elsie's was much bigger than mine. So it's because they have bread flour. I didn't have bread flour. See how, look how that is nice and smooth. Just want to make sure I get as much covered as possible. And then we're going to roll it up and make it into some good yumminess here. I'm going to try to carry it out as far as I can. So once I start rolling this up, don't worry about it being perfect as far as the sides go and everything, because what happens is you're going to cut off the loose ends, and you're going to make it. All right. All right. I think we are good. That looks delicious. So what you're going to do is you're going to take this and you're going to start rolling it up tightly. Take it slow. Make sure that you're rolling it as a unit. Okay, now remember what I said about cutting off the ends? You're going to cut them off. Because there's part of this that you're not going to use. All right, so we're going to go about right about here and just go ahead and cut through here. Slice it through. We're going to put them in here. Look at that. That's going to be pretty. And you got to remember that your dough is going to expand, so you don't want to put them up too close to each other, but just far enough away that you'll be able to, look at that. There you go. This is going to look so good. So I'm going to put this right here. So make it a little easier for me to put them in. Now I still have to make the cream cheese for this. Plus I have to make the cream cheese for the cake also. And the cake is currently in the oven. And look at that. But this has got to proof for 30 more minutes, so. Look at that. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get these over there, let them start proofing. It's going to take about 30 minutes to proof. One more time, and then we pop it in the oven and we get it to baking. And we'll see when we come back. So we're in the final stages of the red velvet cinnamon rolls. So I'm going to go ahead and put them in the oven now at 350 for 18 to 22 minutes, depending on your oven. And by the way, I have to tell you that it is about maybe, 35 degrees with a humidity here in middle Georgia of like 96%. So we had to actually let our dough rise longer. How long was it? About an extra hour.
Yeah.
To rise, and then we had to actually add on 15 minutes to when we were proofing it with the, getting ready to put it in the oven. So it depends upon your weather and the humidity of how this proofs.
Yeah.
So keep in mind that what they say, 30 minutes, is not long enough to be able to proof this, because you want them to be big and beautiful. Now I have like 3 little small ones here at the end, as you see. But I can tell you that if you don't let them rise and give them their full due diligence, you're going to have underdeveloped cinnamon rolls.
Right.
So
because the original proofing was an hour to hour and a half on the original dough ball, and it ended up being 2, 3, maybe almost 3 hours of proofing, really.
Right.
Just because it's cold
and humid
here
right
today.
It's a damp wet. So in order to make sure that they rise appropriately, you gotta let them rise until they are ready, because you do not want to bake them prematurely.
And I would just, what we did and what you really should be doing, unless you have a temperature in an oven that you can adjust and then turn it off, we set these on top of the stove right next to where the heat vent's coming out of the oven, and let them proof up at that. You don't want them to get too hot though, because it will stop. It will prematurely like put a hard film over them, and they will just quit rising. If you get them too hot too fast.
So you want to be able to get them near where the vent comes out, but you don't want it to get overly hot,
right?
Because you don't want to stunt the growth of the dough process. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go ahead and pop these in the oven. We're going to ice them as soon as they come out and cool down, and we'll show you guys when it's done, when it looks like. Okay? We'll see you soon.
Hey y'all. We are making our cream cheese icing for both pans. We're using one recipe for the icing because I've made this icing before for my cinnamon rolls, so I know the recipe. It's a good recipe, so we decided to just double our recipe. Technically, we quadrupled our recipe because you never can have enough cream cheese icing on your cinnamon rolls. So each recipe actually called for only 4 ounces of cream cheese, and we actually have 16 ounces. So I made each recipe for each pan have 8 ounces of cream cheese, so I have 2 of them over here. I have 3 cups of powdered sugar, 3 teaspoons of vanilla, and a stick and a half of butter. So I am going to get started with putting my room temperature cream cheese that's been sitting out since this morning into the mixer. You can make the 4 ounces, you know, what the recipe actually calls for if you want, but what the hey, you can double it and have twice the amount of icing in it and make it so good. I don't know anybody who doesn't really enjoy extra icing on your cinnamon rolls. All right, let me turn my mixer on. Move this out of the way. Put that powdered sugar to the side. Let me move my mixer so that I can actually reach around here and lower it. All right. So I'm going to turn it on and get it going. I'm going to beat this for a couple minutes, and then I'm going to add in my vanilla and my powdered sugar. I'm going to add in my vanilla. I'm going to stop it. I'm going to raise it up so that I can scrape down the sides of the bowl. We finally learned our lesson not to put the spatula down in there with it running. We don't want to lose a finger. Good Lord, I think it took us enough times of messing up and trying to reach down in here. Okay. All right. Try not to get cream cheese on the mixer, but that ain't working. All right, let me put it back on for... I'm gonna do it for... for about a minute and a half, and then I'll turn it back off and start adding in my powdered sugar. Okay, it has mixed enough. I'm going to raise the paddle up, and I'm going to add in a little bit of the powdered sugar. I'm not going to do a whole lot, because I want to make sure that we have, don't get a powdered sugar bath. It smells really good. I love cream cheese, any way you can have it. Wipe down all the top of the paddle here. Get as much powdered sugar in there as I can. Scrape down the sides to get every bit of powdered sugar down in that mix. I'm going to turn it off, lift the paddle up, and this looks so good. Smells good too. I know you're sitting there drooling right now. I know it. Give me a bowl of this and I'll be happy. Seriously. Okay. Take this off and set this down. Make sure it's mixed all the way. We are good to go. We have a lot of cream cheese icing right there. Some yummy goodness. All right, we'll be back.
Hi, I'm Elsie.
And I'm Debbie,
We're two sisters Southern cooking.
And we thank you for visiting our page. Please like, share, and subscribe.
Thank you.